here we are again. It's been a little over a month since we've been able to cross over to the Forbidden Lands of Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm almost at 100 hours into the game right now, and man, the wait was absolutely worth it. I'm absolutely obsessed with this game right now. Before I continue this Glaze session though, I want to make this the first episode of a completely new series on the channel. But if we're going to make a new series, we've got to name it. Now I've gone through a plethora of ideas when it comes to what I want to call this. After going through countless possibilities on the drawing board, I think I've got a name set in stone. Ladies and gents, welcome to Shen's Verdict, the series where I take a piece of media and I let you know the objectively true opinion on it because I said so. As you all know already, we're kicking this off with Capcom's hottest new title, Monster Hunter Wilds. There's a lot to unpack here, but before we dive in, I made a promise in the last video. If anything I say here becomes true, then I will eat an entire lemon in celebration and post it for you all to see. And I'm not kidding either. So, as I said, and I promised in my last video, I in fact got the lemon. And I said that if there was any mention of the ancient civilization and wilds or anything close to the sort, I would eat this entire thing. So, I'm a man of my word, and I'm gonna do it. So, I got this, I got the knife here. So, here it is. We got our nice little lemon here. And honestly, I'm just gonna tear it in half. Oh god, it's so potent. These are the lemons, or the lemon. Not bad. So again, I don't know if you're supposed to eat the seed or something like that, but I mean, go. Oh, that's awful. So yeah, that was pretty awful, right? I think we can all agree that was pretty bad, and I'm never doing that again until I make a stupid promise that may come true again. What did you think? You have anything to say to the people? No? Alright. Enjoy the video. Back to the video. Alright, with that out of the way, let's actually get into this. As much as I adore Wilds, it isn't without its flaws. No game is, unless you're Bloodborne. So what I want to do is get my personal negatives out of the way first. I think the biggest problem with the game right now has to be the online multiplayer mechanics. It just feels so overly complicated to get things to work properly. I'm very glad we finally have crossplay, but man, I just wish it was a bit simpler to figure out, if you get what I mean. I also kind of hate how the environmental link is as a whole. I was really excited for it as a concept, but in execution, there's a lot to be desired. I've got a few other nitpicks too. I managed to fix this personally, but the game did look very washed out at times. Frenzied monsters die way too quick, the final boss only being able to be fought once is just weird with no gear at all. A good portion of skills straight up don't work properly either. Why does Flare level 2 work more than Flare level 5? This is just one of many examples. We also need layered weapons in this game so badly right now. I'm not a meta person at all, but I do like my big damage numbers, and since Guardian weapons are the meta at the moment, I would really like to just layer over it. I do like the designs for most of them, but the actual monster weapon designs are just way too damn cool to just stick to those. Last few negatives I've got. I absolutely despise the secrets AI behavior. God, I really do. It's so inconsistent and downright frustrates me at points. The default options they give us makes the controls feel like it's all over the place in my opinion. It shouldn't be as hard as it is to stop for just a damn second. Just stop moving for a few minutes, please! They're also just always in your face when you're trying to do anything. Like, I can't even take a picture without it or Alma just wandering into frame all the time. Like, I get it, you're always supposed to be with me, but just move a little bit, please? I'm begging you. It kind of feels like we've regressed a little in terms of our mounts. It's starting to make me really miss the Palamute from Rise just a tiny bit. I don't really think the secret is terrible, I just find them really damn annoying sometimes. There's no real way to view or display your endemic life, and I found recently there's apparently a limit on how much you can cast, so that in itself is mind-boggling when we not only can't access it, but we can't do anything about it. So if you hit your max right now, you're screwed! I really love the fact we have Gore Magala back again, but there's just something I kinda don't like about his design. I really can't put my finger on it right now. There's something that just feels so off about it, and I don't know, I just don't really rock with how it looks in this game. I don't hate it though. It might be just because I love how it looks in Sunbreak so much more. So ultimately, this can definitely be just a preference thing. Love the fight though. Tempered Virgin kicks my ass all the time. I think overall, the creeping feeling of a bit of an unfinished game came to me at certain points. I really don't want to say that, and of course none of it is the devs' fault. It sucks to see this happen due to Capcom's annoying release schedules. I'd also be wrong not to point this out even if I personally never really experienced it, and that's the PC performance. I played on a Beast PS5 on balance mode and I overall had a really great experience with barely any hiccups. Some pop-ins here and there, but nothing really too game-breaking. But I've got way too many cases of friends that I know on PC that struggle to run this for the most part. I hope as these updates roll by, these issues can get resolved and ironed out as we go. Again, not a personal experience, but it would be wrong not to point it out. Take in mind, this was made after the Title Update 1 reveal, and some of my issues are hopefully getting solved already. We'll have to see, but it looks very promising so far. Moving on from my negatives for now, let's get into why this is already my Game of the Year 2025. Even though we're barely into the year, but be quiet! Ever since I first played the demo at New York Comic Con, I was absolutely in love at first sight. It may have been the overall experience of being in line, seeing the displays, meeting new people, and writing the life-size secret, but man, I'll never forget my time playing it at the show. I was with some friends of mine and my girlfriend as we all rode out into a hunt together and peeked all of our really horrible headset mics that they provided for us as Ray Down nuked Dashiguma during one of our hunts. That time alone made me crave WoWs like crazy. I genuinely felt the closest thing to withdrawals during the wait for launch, especially after both the open betas. When I finally got to sink my teeth into the game while staring at the countdown on my TV for hours on end, I spent nearly 24 hours straight playing the game. Safe to say, I really loved my first day with it. I had a blast pretty much fighting everyone on the roster. Except for Hirabami. I'm still on the Great Sword Wave. My secondary sword and shield, two incredibly fun weapons. I found enjoyment on pretty much every single weapon in the game too. Usually I prefer some over the others, but surprisingly, that's not really the case here. Everything feels pretty damn good in this game. There's nothing quite like hitting an offset attack during the hunt though. That's why I'm on the Great Sword Wave, man. That euphoric feeling. The monster count was only 29, but I didn't really mind that at all. It felt like a quality over quantity thing, and I loved the roster from start to finish. Except for Abami. The Apexes were the absolute stars of the show though. All four of them left a great impression on me. Even my least favorite is still like a 9 out of 10, man. My favorite is absolutely new Udra. I'm so glad we have a full-on octopus monster, and it is so impressive watching its animations. In my opinion, this is the most technologically impressive monster we've ever had in this series. I will say though, most of them do die pretty quickly, but for me, I didn't see this as a big negative either. To me, this series isn't about difficulty. It's not something I look forward to, nor is it a deal breaker if a monster isn't busting my balls every few minutes. I do agree that they should have had just a little bit more health overall though. Hopefully the Arc-Tipper monsters we get solve this down the line. The endgame is pretty great. We have tempered and frenzied monsters to battle, alongside most of the returning monsters only showing up in high rank, which I loved a lot. Seeing 90% of the low rank encounters be completely new is amazing. I'm so glad they've kept on doing this throughout the games. It's just awesome to see new faces every time. I can't wait to see how much they expand on the endgame as the updates roll out. I have to admit the wound system is a bit overtuned. I'd be lying if I said those animations weren't some of the most satisfying things to pull off though. Especially the one where you get to do a focus strike mid-air with Greatsword and you're stuck on the monster, you have to push yourself down. Oh, I love it. I can never get over it. But I will say, I hope they do make it just a slight bit weaker so that monsters aren't flinching every few minutes. Overall, I think it's my favorite combat gimmick they've done so far though. With a bit of fine-tuning, I feel like it'll be perfect, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it as a permanent feature in these future games. Monsters also feel like they react to hits way more than before. The improved hit stop, along with seeing their body parts reacting ever so slightly each time you hit them, it's those little things that I appreciate very much. I've always liked seeing monsters sustain battle damage during the hunts, and this just adds on to it even more. I'm really glad to see layered armor has the best system it's ever had since it was introduced. By the time you craft the armor in high rank, it's automatically made into layered armor for you to use whenever you like. I adore this and can't appreciate it enough. Faction hunting has never been easier or more stylish than this. I mentioned it before, but crossplay finally being in the game makes me so happy. Monster Hunter at its core is about making connections and having fun with friends, or making new friends as you help them out with your hunts. The community is incredible and it's changed my life for the better. Now with crossplay, we're no longer bound by our platforms and everybody can join in on the hunts. That's just incredible, man. We've always wanted this and we finally have it. I feel like it's time to really dive into what I've anticipated the most from Wilds though. If you saw my last video, if you haven't here, go watch it now. You'll know what it is, and that's the story. I am the most vindicated man in existence! Almost everything I hoped for in the story became reality, even more than I'd hoped for actually. Capcom finally did it. They delved into the series' greatest mystery and gave us something groundbreaking. I may have been wrong about the 4 apexes, but I was right on the money with Arkveld. The entire premise of the Guardians is one of the coolest things I've seen them do. It goes down this sci-fi horror route I can just devour and never be sick of it. Nada and Arkveld's dynamic was my favorite part of the story by a long shot. But that doesn't mean the other parts were weak though. I love pretty much all the characters in this game. It was nice seeing their personal journeys alongside ours as the story went on. Gemma going from a young aspiring smith back in the previous game to inspiring a young girl at a zoo on a similar path to hers was great to see. This is a PSA to everyone, by the way. Olivia is my wife and I will take zero objections to this. Thank you. Anyway, her involvement as well was really strong. Mo was a star as well. She was incredibly helpful, and every time she says the guild authorizes us to hunt something, it always made me feel more than excited to just go in and shred what was in front of me. Rove is my genuine spirit animal. By the time I laid eyes on him, I knew his vibe right away. Every single time we're graced with his omnipotent presence, I always feel this euphoric feeling of happiness. This is the Rove effect. The fact all he wants in item trays are just different types of weed kind of tells you all you need to know about the guy too. It's also really funny that we can see him tied up in Ursilla's web even after the first time in the story. What a character. Generational. Bring him back in every single game. Those four are just a few examples of how well written the cast was. I love them more than anybody I've met in the series so far. Now, back to Nada, the most important character in the entire game. It was just incredible to see how much Nada grows throughout the story. To me, he represents an indomitable spirit to stay strong and move forward. Arkveld also portrays this, which is why they're connected. They're two sides of the same coin. I don't think I've ever seen a flagship monster whose story was as tragic as Arkveld's. Its sole purpose was being used as a weapon for its entire life, and now that it's finally free, it's desperately trying to survive as a normal organism in the ecosystem. But with the unfortunate fact that it can't ever truly be full, its endless predatory feast on other monsters in the regions was just too much of an ecological disaster for it to stay alive. The final fight with Guardian Arkveld felt way more somber than anything else. Hearing Nada beg and plead for us not to kill it just because it wants to live was downright sad. No better way to describe it. When we finally do kill it, we don't even get the proper victory music we're used to. Rather, we get a bit of a less hearty tune that fades in slowly. This wasn't really a hunt, it was a mercy killing. Not just for Arkveld, but for the entire system as a whole. After taking out Zoshia in the rawest cutscene of all time, God, it's so cool. We get to see Nada taking a step forward in his life as a newly formed hunter. Seeing his character growth just made me so happy, man. Seeing a newly hatched Arkveld egg at the end of everything was the cherry on top as well. I couldn't have thought of a better way to end this saga between these two. Reviving a species like this is a pretty risky ordeal. They even talk about it in-game, which I really do appreciate. You can't really just bring in a random extinct species and expect everything to really go well. Seeing Nada going from begging us not to put down Arkveld to accepting the fact that it needed to be stopped for the good of the ecosystem really showed his growth as a character. This was just my absolute favorite bits of the story. Another massive highlight in my opinion was the best segment of the entire story, and that was the Dashiguma village raid that ended in one of the greatest cutscenes the series has ever had. I'm telling you, man, this scene alone brought up Dashiguma even more than I already liked it. It will never leave my head. And the more I think about it too, he's kind of ranking up there. He may be my favorite monster in all of Wilds. That has yet to be said. The inclusion of growing the frenzied monsters in the high-rank story sets up a lot of really cool opportunities in the future as well. It was really nice seeing Fabius revisiting his past to help us fight off Gore for the first time. I'm 100% expecting Shigaro to show up, by the way. There's no monster more inevitable than that one, I feel. Like, come on, you really can't have Gore without its adult form. It's like having ramen broth without noodles. It's just damn incorrect. I'm hungry. I really want to talk about Zoshia now. What an incredible final boss. They actually did it. The Eagle Dragon weapon is real, and it's taking the form of Zoshia. This monster has so many qualities to it that are so out of this world, I can't get enough of it. When we're introduced to this thing, we see a really nice and graceful, bright white outer shell. And as we slowly destroy that shell, we truly start to see the demon that's hiding inside of it. This is what the ancient civilization has truly created. This is pretty much their own version of the infamous Fatalis, made into an immortal weapon. A lot of people say that Fatalis is immortal as well, but that's just fan theories. I genuinely do think that Zoshia is possibly immortal. The cutscene we see of it in the Title Update 1 trailer pretty much shows to me that it's regenerated, and in my opinion, it looks like it can't ever truly be killed. They pretty much created something that can endlessly fight for them with no way of truly dying. An artificial being that really does take the title of being a monster. An unholy monster created by humanity. This is the true result of us tampering with nature, and now we need to handle the aftermath of their actions. It's pretty damn scary when you think about it. I'm sure most people are really tired of the whole humanity are the real villain shtick, but I don't think that's what really applies here. Sure, the argument can be made that the entire Guardians premise that they did is wrong, and I agree with that, but I feel like they didn't do it out of malice or anything like that. I think they genuinely felt like this could have been a breakthrough without really considering the consequences to it. Yeah, you can have monsters by your side to defend you from anything, but as we've seen now, nature always finds a way to revolt. So now, we have endless amounts of Guardians running around not really having a direction and just fighting whatever they can find. So, moving on from that, the gameplay is great, the story is great. What else is great about Wilds? I don't know, man, the salamanders are pretty neat. But no, I have plenty more. I've gotta say, coming off a Rise break which focused way more on an arcadey style the portable games usually have, it felt so goddamn nice to be back in a much more detailed world that's just full of life again. I have legitimately spent hours just walking around each map like I did in the beta, but amplified even more. I haven't felt this immersed in a game in a very long time. There's almost nothing out there that can replicate the feeling of discovery Monster Hunter gives you. It's just so unique in its own way. Even if I can't access or display the endemic life that I captured, I still love going out and capturing whatever I can see. I feel like out of all the other games so far, WoW's has the most interesting roster of endemic life we've ever had. I really hope they do give us the chance to display what we have. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm nearing almost 100 hours into the game and it's just been a non-stop blast. But I'm taking breaks so I don't get burnt out of it before the first title update even happens, really. There's so many things to enjoy about this whilst there's also plenty of things to criticize about it, and I think that's okay. There shouldn't be a side to this that's completely dominant over the other when it comes to this game. At the end of the day, we just want an incredible game, and Wilds is almost there. It feels like it's just on the cusp of true greatness. After seeing what was revealed in TU1, a lot of it definitely feels like what we should have had in the base game at launch, but I'm glad we are getting it, man. Now, here's a bit of a hot take. I'm a bit disappointed about Mizutsune being in the game. Now, hear me out. I don't hate Mizutsune being in Wilds at all. I just don't really love the fact that after getting 3 separate versions of him in the previous games, one of them being a title update on its own, making him one once again rather than just being base game is really disappointing in my honest opinion. This is just my personal thoughts on it though. If you're hyped for him, then that's awesome, and I'm still looking forward to fighting him again. He looks like he has a lot of interesting new moves. I've got some other thoughts on TU1. Finally getting Zoshia gear is great, and I'm so excited to see Arc Tempered Grey Dao. I love the fact that the Apexes are being treated as such high tier monsters. I just know that AT Jin Dahad is gonna rip me a new one and I can't wait for it. Weapon poses being a separate DLC is lame and should have been base game, but besides that, I find it a bit difficult to really be mad about the rest of the cosmetic DLC. Yeah, it's never a good practice, but Capcom's been doing this for a little over a decade now and it really isn't changing anytime soon. I mean, I know they got my ass by the time they revealed those Dashigoin chairs for your camp, so call me part of the problem, I guess. I really do look forward for what the future holds for this game though. While time passes and more things are added alongside the eventual giant expansion we'll see next year, Wilds is really shaping up to be the best Monster Hunter game of all time. I truly look forward to it. I feel the need to bring this up as well. I think trying to immediately dismiss people's negatives and criticisms towards the game is a bit silly. This game does have genuine problems that need fixing. I do have full faith that they will be solved eventually, but for right now, I completely understand people's grievances. 9 times out of 10, criticism is very healthy and it's needed to make things better. Endlessly brushing off anything people say that isn't just endless glazing isn't really the best idea in my opinion. For the most part, people say these things because they want the game to be better. They want things to improve. Some people spend $110 on this, man. It's alright if you don't share the same sentiments or disagree with them, but just try to be a little more civil and hear them out a bit. Ignore the people who are clearly just hating the hate, obviously, and please stop somehow making it a Rise vs. World debate again. How the hell did we get here again? What is happening? But yeah, these are just very good conversations to have considering we all want the same thing in the end. Monster Hunter Wilds gets the verdict of being a solid 8 out of 10. There are so many things that need to be added to truly make the game feel complete, but at the end of the day, I still really love it. So how did you guys like the first episode? This is gonna be an experimental thing for me for now. I'm open to any suggestions to make this better though, unless it's about my opinions, because I will never hear anyone else since I will always be 100% true on what I say no matter what. Sorry, that's the rules. I'm really excited to get this going alongside another series I currently have cooking in the pan though, so stay tuned. And with that, I take my leave for now. If you enjoyed this, like, share, sub, and all the usual biz. I hope you're having an incredible day or night wherever you are. My name is Shen, and it's been real. Peace.